prosperity is about having the abundance of the gifts and the talents and things that we need to help others and make the world a better place. That's prosperity for me.
Hello, today is my honor to have a special guest, very special guest, because that's my first reflector I'm interviewed with. Our guest is Rosemary Evangelista. Hey, Rosemary, how are you?
I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Yeah, I met Rosemary several occasions doing the networking with the service-based professionals. So I'm so glad she has this opportunity to join me. Let me introduce Rosemary before we hear her amazing stories. Rosemary Evangelista, the owner and founder of the REVA experience, is a beacon of resilience and triumph in the face of adversity. Rosemary guides others on a transformative journey from victimhood to victory, breaking free from limiting patterns, embracing their full potential, and finding purpose as she helps others uncover the joy hidden within challenges and find their sparkle every day. Wow. I really like your mission because we all have a sparkle. Sometimes we kind of put it off.
Absolutely.
Would you like to share any stories like that?
Well, as a child, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And I was a teacher to the neighborhood kids because I was one of the older kids, right? So, and I even went to teachers college back a few decades ago. You only needed 1 year of teachers college to become a teacher. And for whatever reason, I don't even know, I didn't make it, which is okay because I wasn't meant to be that kind of a teacher. I wasn't meant to be stuck in a classroom. I love kids, but I wasn't meant to be stuck in a classroom in a structured setting. I can't operate like that. I need to be able to have the ability to express what I need to express to make the point to teach somebody or help them realize rather than teach them, help them realize the things that they can change to make a better life. So it took a long time, a very long time, going through many, many different types of businesses. Oh my gosh, from selling makeup, pots and pans, and dishes, and life insurance. And before these little satellite dishes we have now, we used to have the great big 6 foot, 12 foot satellite dishes. I was even selling them, and I'll have to share this experience. It was January. This house I had to go to, they had a foot of snow there. I get to the door and there's rags stuffed in the door. And I'm going, oh, geez, do I knock on this door or not? And it's getting a funny feeling, right? I knock. A man comes to the door with a raccoon on his head. I'm thinking, okay, now do I really go in? I said, okay, I'm going to be brave because accept employment. They want to get a satellite dish. I walk in, there's an old man sitting in a recliner. The back of it is all scratched, the stuffing's torn out. I walk around, go into the kitchen, and they're chopping wood in the kitchen. Well, I did the presentation, and needless to say, they could not afford it. So I didn't get that sale, but it just taught me not to judge, for one. And secondly, I'm braver than I think I am. Right? And to go with my gut instinct. At first, I was a little, should I go in there? I'm by myself, a woman, and this is a man at the door with a raccoon. I don't know. But then I calmed down and I allowed myself to go. And several other incidents in my life, but I know I've been guided and protected. So there's so many other times in my life where it may not have gone well, but I know I was protected.
It reminded me so many times I was in the similar situation. Do I go or do I retreat? It's always like a fence, those kind of things. But I think most of the time, why not? I just learned my lesson. I just go ahead. You have this called REVA experience. I wonder, is there anything you'd like to share? What does the REVA experience really mean?
So it's an interesting story. For the past 6 years, I've been working with my friend. She was in real estate, and I had to leave a very toxic retail store. And I was there for 8 years, I think, or 9 years, and it was so toxic. But in that situation, I also learned to help people there. But I needed to get out. So she said, well, I need an assistant. So I became her executive assistant. And for years, I just invoiced her with my name. I thought, I need a professional name. So maybe I'll use REVA, which is REVA, Rosemary Evangelista, virtual assistant.
Oh.
But then I thought, you know what? I didn't get no vibration, no feeling. And it's like, this just doesn't feel right. So I decided to Google it. And it turns out it's the name of a goddess who brings us from darkness to light with courage and strength. Every time I say that again, I get goosebumps. Once again, I got the goosebumps. So I got my confirmation. Okay, that's the name I need to use. But I can't use that with real estate because I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'm working in an environment for somebody else. It's okay, but I wasn't thriving. So I decided to see what I was going to do on my own. And I didn't want to put the REVA Inc. or the REVA company or anything like that. I thought, what I'm going to share is an experience. So I decided to use the REVA experience.
So that's the name REVA coming from.
Yes.
Well, that is so brilliant. Like you just kind of think about, that's what I do. That's my name. But turn out to be a goddess name. What a coincidence. Well, I would say nothing's coincidence now. It's just synchronicity.
Yeah.
Like when you see something, you think about something and the sign will show up or a person or events will just come in the right moments. That is profound.
When I'm connecting with somebody and I listen and they speak, then something will come to me that I need to say to them. And most times I help them figure it out rather than me figuring it out for them. The things that they are doing, the things they need to change, or a different path that they could go on. So it's a choice that they make. And I think that's very important, allowing that choice, because if you're telling somebody, oh, you should do this, that may not be coming a message for them. That's coming from you inside. And that's your energy. They need to get their energy to figure it out. So that's where my coaching is based on. Let's have a conversation. I love doing Zoom calls because we can record and I can share that with them. Yeah. So that's just part of me always wanting to be a teacher and an entrepreneur. I even had a lemonade stand back when I was a kid.
Wow, that's so cute. Yeah, I mean, it's our current level of the consciousness really for us to experience the material plane. Well, we can be spiritual, but it's no contradictory say you couldn't make money. It's a lot of people just start to confuse about, oh, I'm spiritual, so money is evil. Wait a minute, do you need food to eat? Do you need the water to drink? Well, where did that come from?
Right.
Do you think you can sit there and meditate it out? Not yet. I mean, if we all kind of shift to very higher conscious, we don't need those. But we're not yet, right? We are still kind of helping the evolution. We do need to be practical, make a living and contribute and serve others.
Yeah.
We are talking about your human design chart. You are the reflector. But everything you share at this point, we already know you are such a great mirror. Like people come in to toss around things, then you just reflect them back and they got trigger or insights. Oh yeah, I can do that because you are just non-judgmental and reflect their idea, their emotions. But because you need to be mature enough to do that, otherwise you will take them in and think that's your struggle, that your emotion, your frustration, but it's not you. You just kind of reflect. But when we're young, we need to practice. So the human design wants us to practice something we are not. That we can be frustrated, we can be angry, we can do all this emotion thing. But it's for us to understand that's not us. Because if we experience that, it's because we reflect now. So reflector is really the gift for the humanity. Because you guys coming here to observe the whole society, you are just totally open. So everything flowing through you is not from you. It's really just your response to reflect back out to the society. you have to be vocal. You have to say things, but it's not saying from your own programmed mind. Everybody's programmed, right? We grow up in the society, have a certain expectation, and they don't teach us like, oh, you are a reflector. You don't need to do that because that's a generator's job. Nobody say that. We just go ahead and do everything we want to do, but then we learn our lesson. This is not my past. This is not what I want to do, right? And you mentioned about teacher, that is perfect. Your profile is 4, 6. So on the human design, they got level from 1 to 6. It's actually the DNA energy expression. So when we are a certain profile in our genetics, we will express differently. For 4 person, usually they are very friendly. They want to engage with people. They like to listen to stories and share stories. And they like to have a group of people. They are the servers. So their purpose is aligned with a group of people they associate with. 6 people is very unique. You're on the rooftop. You get to sit there. You can see everything. So you don't do too much, but you absorb so many things. So they usually, the 6, they tend to be mature a bit later. But once they get out, all the insight they absorb from their life on the higher rooftop, right? It's just stop pouring out. That you're just, nobody know, where did you learn that? I just know. Because you just go through that. So you're 4, 6, and you think about your, running your community, doing the podcast, and want to be a teacher. I think you intuitively know should be your path. But I wonder, is anything give you this aha moment, or finally you decided, hey, this is me?
Well, as a child, as I was mentioning, I wanted to be a teacher, and I was always, organizing the kids, having the lemonade stand, and always wanting to be an entrepreneur. So that's why I did so many different things in sales, but never really felt comfortable in any of them. So I thought, well, I'm not really a great salesperson, but that wasn't my path. So, I'll just backtrack a little bit too, because we were talking about influences, and a lot of people have struggle with money, the concept of money. I did too. I should say still a bit sometimes, because that still wants to weave in there, give you that little jab about money. But I grew up as Catholic, and money was evil. It did all bad things, and we lacked it at growing up, because my family came from Europe, right after the war. So we all struggled. But going forward now, things got better, and I'm still struggling. What am I here for? What am I supposed to do? So back in 94, I believe it was, I can never remember the exact year, but I had a very serious health issue. I went in to get a regular gallbladder operation, and the test that they do before, they had punctured the duodenum. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Oh.
I ended up with peritonitis. I had fluid in the lungs, abscess on the kidney. I lost an entire week. I don't remember. This is why I still have trouble trying to remember what year that was. So anyway, I almost died twice during that healing. I was in the hospital for a month. And my sister had brought in a cassette player that looped, and it was Canon by Pachelbel, and it had ocean sounds. The entire time I was in there, I was listening to this, and with each ocean wave, I was healing. The wave would come in from the top to my waist, and then my waist down to my knees, and then out to my feet. The doctors wanted to know what I was doing. I was healing so quickly. And that was the mind over matter, the willing to live, because I had a purpose.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was, but that's the big aha. I said, okay, I have to figure this out. What am I supposed to do? That was 94. Well, it took me until, 2024. It took me until 2022 to really know what my path was. So there was a lot of growing, a lot of learning, a lot of absorbing, like you said.
Yeah. We thank you for that.
Lots of absorbing, right? and I still want to learn more. So I'm like, like you've heard the saying, it's never too old to do, what your path in search and learn. And I love learning so that I can share. But 2 years ago, I made a decision. I decided that I was not going to allow others to make me feel small anymore. I knew I had something to do, and I finally got the strength and the courage to go from that darkness to this light. It's still a bit of a struggle, like life is a struggle. It's not going to, just because you realize, oh yes, I've got my path, it's going to run smoothly. That's not life, because life is a continual learning cycle.
Yes,
But
yes.
I am so much more clear on what my purpose is. I have such a joy and excitement when I can sit down and talk with somebody, and I can
Yeah.
talk for hours. Let's have a conversation about whatever. And if I can help you, then let's see what we can do.
Yeah. Wow. You know who you are, but it's just like, how can I get it out? Like, what's the work can really let that gift shine through, right?
Absolutely. About
So that's the
speaking about
Mhm.
collecting, that's part of what my journey was. Everything that either was mostly negative that I didn't want to deal with, or I just didn't want it to allow me to slow down. I have a hard time saying this word, compartmentalized. So it's all
Mm,
in here, right? But to allow, that's a big lesson to learn to release.
yes. Definitely. From this conversation, I think about the human design system, at least for me to reflect and understand. But for reflector, I heard so many comments from reflector. It's like life-saving tool because they struggle so much. They always compare to other. They don't have their identity. They don't have opinions. They don't have enough energy, and they just feel tired all the time. We have 9 different energy centers. You don't have a sustainable energy flow anywhere in your awareness, from the head to the root. But when you connect with somebody who has different gate, so your hanging gate, you can see your chart is have a color and black and red, and the other side is empty, and that's the hanging gate. For example, you have 45 as a hanging gate, and the other side we call a harmonic gate is 21. So you usually don't have anything triggered by that. But if someone has a 21, which I do, in your awareness, they will become your partner or colleague or something, and you connect that channel of money. So you become to be, oh, let's make some money. Nothing wrong with it. I like to flow with that energy because that 21 person just show up. But if that person is no longer there, boom, you feel like, oh, the flow is not there anymore. So reflectors really become very sensitive about their body energetic triggers because you have a lot of hanging gates. So you interact with different people, you go shopping, you go to different places. Place is really important. So for you, if you want to have a certain clarity, you don't go to the cloudy place because it's so loud. It's like, gosh, all the things never experienced before. It's all coming to you, right? But so your locations become very critical. But like I said, when you have this different experience, you become more compassionate because you can more relate to their experience, right? If everybody is totally full, like if I have sustainable everywhere, I'm just become, that's my word. I don't even know what other people think. So that's become hard to relate to experience. The human, we need to be social. If the person look like so arrogant or something, it's not their fault sometimes. It's just the experience. So part of the human design system, other than the body mechanic, I just show, the body graph. Another system I like even more, it's called gene keys. So you can go gene and keys. What's that two thing do, right? So gene keys provides kind of the raw map about what we're coming down here to do. Our purpose, our karma, our dharma, and gifts. And those are all in that package. So for me, I use a gene key as a reflector tool. because I can reflect it in. So, okay, I have this sphere. For example, if my light work is 53, I'm supposed to have this immaturity when I'm in the default consciousness. But if I mature, then I expand the correct way, and I become super abundance. But I can stay in the immaturity for generations because I don't know I have the potential. So, but Jinkies got 3 level. You got the shadow, which is defaults. We all coming to experience opposites, right? And the middle one is the gift. So you start to unleash your creativity. You start to feel you have something to give. Then the highest is called Siddhi, Siddhi. I think it's the ancient Hindu language to reflect to you're totally pure, like a light. So shadow and the lights, and we have to do something to give and to serve. So the light and shadow is always coming together, right? If you don't have a light, you don't see the shadow. If you want to see the shadow, you need to have a light. So they are just 2 part of the whole thing. So for me, I use it to reflect it. So sometimes I'm like, oh, very frustrated because that's my signature non-self. If generator is not happy, it's usually frustration. They don't really show anger. Anger is menace factor. But generator is like, very frustrated. You want to punch something.
That sounds familiar for me too.
Yeah, because you got everybody. You reflect everybody's behavior. So for me, it's okay. So I'm frustrated. I see you say I'm, my purpose is supposed to be like a wing, like breeze, flow, like easy. Then I say, okay, let's shift that. So it'd be easier to make this possible because they are together. And so if you're okay, I would love to share your pearl sequence because there are 3 different sequences. Sure. Okay. Because every time I read this, I just like, gosh, I'm talking to a goddess or REVA. Well, God, I need to get permission because this is like, they need to, just know how good they are. And I mentioned they got 3 different sequences. So the first set is called activation. That is our 4 prime gifts. Like we are actually giving all the gift, but this is the primary gift. And it's our doing and being. So when we usually do too much, we don't even know we have the other side of the truth, right? We don't see it. We don't listen, right? We just do, go, go. So that sequence is for us to do the alignment, understand the doing is not my life purpose. This is something we need to balance together and become a whole thing, right? And the second sequence is called Venus. It's more like a relationship and love. And particularly go back to our imprinting process. It's like every 7 years, particularly the first 7 years is the imprinting process. We kind of like a dreaming state. So in that 7 years, everything happened. We just totally get into our awareness. It become a habit, become an operation system. Then the second 7 years, 7 to 14, that's teenagers. We are hormone like crazy. So we'll find some kind of strategy just to survive through that craziness. But not necessarily it's the good strategy, right? Then when 14 to 21 is for our awareness about our worth, what I'm here to do, the purpose, the clarity, the smart, like I'm smart or I'm not. So that is that imprinting process. So Venus is go back to the 3-7 years to revisit it and start to choose or let go. If you want that still serving you, you think that's your unique gift, keep it. But if I don't need to do that anymore, you can start to ditch. So Venus is helping us to see ourselves in a different lens because we already grow out on that time. Then we start to let go of all the shadows we don't need to keep. After the navigation, you finish your cleanup for your Venus. That's why I have a program called Tune Up. That's where you know how good you are and clean up. So you go to the speak up. And that is really just expression. Who you are going to be and what you're going to do. And, what is the purpose I can serve others. So Pearl Sequence has 4 spheres, including your vocation, like you declare, I have decided to do. Then you have a culture is your structure of your business. Then on the top, there used to be the doing called life work. Now it become branding because the clean it up, your true color starts showing up. So your branding will be on the top. You have this quantum structure, right? Your location, your culture, your branding. Then on the quantum structure, you have one in the middle is your pearl. So pearl, I think the name is kind of interesting, right? Because the pearl really no one can touch, right? With the little rock or sand getting to
Right.
the oyster. They just have to live with it. Then regardless how uncomfortable to start with, they have to do it, right? Polish and nurture it with some good things. Then it becomes a color. It depends on the environment. It can be different colors of pearl, right? So the pearl secret is really the same thing. Everything we do is to let the pearl shine through. So for you, your vocation number, again, that's because the Jing is based on the Chinese hexagram. So a hexagram has 6 lines, right? Each line can be yin and yang. So that combination, you have 2 times 6 times, that becomes 64 archetypes.
Wow.
So in that 64, you also have different energy within it. It depends on where the yin and yang show up, and they have different, the wind, the light, the heaven, the 8 different phenomena to combine that 6 lines. So for you, you are number 37 for your vocation. And they also have a 6 different line to indicate what is that expression. So 37 is your key number. And on your charts, you can see 37.3. That is your gene trees.
Okay.
Sphere, that one. So you can see your vocation, your role for your business, you are the strategist. Well, no wonder you have a lot of things to teach. You are collect a lot of data, right? So you are a strategy for your business as your role. And the key 37 focus on family and friends. You're so gentle. You want to help everybody. But in the beginning, maybe you overhelp. People will run you over because, oh, Rosemary is such a great person. I got problem. I can cry. I just need someone to talk to. I don't know what she's busy or not. Let's just find her and toast all the things. You got it in because you are a reflector. So in the beginning, in your business, you might feel like, gosh, not really sure because you want to serve, but then you will figure out that strategy for you, for others. Right. So because you cannot really do things for them, you are just a pure mirror. And I think you are mature enough to do that now. So you don't feel you absorb other people. You actually just let them to using you as a sounding board. Right. So that's your vocation. Then you go to the culture. The number is 63 and the line is 1. 63, think about totally 64, right? So 63 is almost the end. When I mentioned about life is no end or beginning, right? It's always circle. So the 63 actually indicated it's new beginnings coming.
Yes.
Not the end. Yeah. So for you is the culture is the individual because of line 1. 1 is the individual. 2 is partnership. 3 is like units, like the family business. 4 is the network. 5 is society. 6 is system. So for you as a 1, that's the individual. That means your business is really focused on doing you. You need to be clean enough. You need to be grounded enough. You'll be happy enough. And just sit there like a clear crystal mirror. So you don't need to do they just come to find you. You just be you. So that's your best structure of your business.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. Then it's hard, right? It's just not that easy,
No.
right? Sit there, don't do anything. It's just like,
That's not me.
But that is the best
strategy.
You because once you're really grounded, you don't need to say anything. You just like crystal mirror there.
Makes sense.
But that is on the doubt. Because the low vibe, the 63 is the doubt. So you always like, I don't know. I don't want that. I'm not sure. But from the doubt, you start to ask the right question, inquiry, right? So you say, well, I'm not sure what is this, right? You can start using intuition and collect the answer. And for reflector, your answer might come a little late.
Yeah.
Usually about the cycle of the moon. So it's 28 days for reflector to get a correct answer. You need space.
Yes.
You need to let people know, say, I need space. Don't rush me. There's things that come out. It's not right if you rush me. Right? So you need to do that.
So true.
You finally get through that phase. The highest one for 63 is the truth. See, if you just crystal mirror everything, you're grounded. There's no judgment. There's no noises from somewhere else. You have enough space. Everything you share is the truth, and that we are lucky to have you to share, either through your social network or client. We all want to hear that. So from personal branding or life work, numbers 24 and line is 4. So 24, this is actually in I Ching is the beginning of the season. So you start to recover from quietness or nothingness, winter, cold. You start to rise up for the energy. The low vibration, addiction. Addiction is like addict to the patterns. Like you get used to be certain pattern, you cannot let go. That's called addiction. In the weight of the consciousness, the energy realm. So from that, for the business, maybe you have certain set of idea. Maybe that is the way I need to do that. So you start to have certain rigid structure, but it's not necessary need that because you just feel you need it. You're the codependency. It's like, oh, if I don't have that, I don't feel I can do that. So you will have addition to something you believe you need, but maybe you don't.
Wow.
It's just because the feeling you need to have that, the codependency will show up.
Right.
But like for that, really, you go into the higher level, you invent a new way to do things, just like the REVA experience. Everything new, but it's totally fit with you. You just tell your truth. You need your time. But everything you say have the meaning other people need to hear because you are just a mirror to bounce back their question. You don't have a question. You are just clean slate. Everywhere you go, you don't need to worry. You just everything coming into you is their problem, their thought. But you're a server, right?
Yeah.
So you get deep down and understand them, and share what you feel and say, and hoping they understand that is their solutions if they allow it. Even from REVA, they don't listen. Then how can you help?
No, exactly. That's so right.
You have this pearl number 25. So for you as a pearl, I said, you cannot really touch the pearl. You can only polish and do something else. You're doing, you're being, you let go, you clean up, you're sharing. All that will polish out your 25. And your line is 5. So what that means, actually from the constriction. So 25 is judgment to start with and limitation. So I can only do this. I'm like the little thing, right? I'm not like that because I always feel like I don't know who I am, where to go. I cannot really make decisions because I don't have opinions. That's constriction.
Yeah.
But think about all the awareness and all the collection and your service, right? All the things start to grow your pearl. So in the end, you are really accepting yourself 100%. Then you love everything. So the highest expression is universal love. You're just radiance out your love to everything around you. And number 5 is the power. So even you don't force anything because you're 37, right? You're gentle, you're servant, because your knowledge, you're living with the truth. Your light just shine out. And people see that, feel the power. Even you don't say anything.
Right.
They just can reflect that power back to them and they all become empowered because of you. But you're just like that. You're universal love. Then you're radiant out all the power to people around you. And you don't even need to do anything to help them. They help themselves because you empower them to do what they need to do. That's how I see your Pearl sequence.
It's interesting. It's almost like I'm learning that's since I made that choice 2 years ago, all this is coming, but it's not coming from me. It's coming from out there to me for the understanding of how I think and do things. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so spot on.
So our role for more and more, I understand, just keep the joys up, clean up, and release. You mentioned about that.
Well,
That's
big
important,
time.
right? Because we're loved. They give us something the right timing, the right message, and we never be alone. We not necessarily trust yet. We always doubt.
Exactly. And that's what I was just thinking as you're
Right?
saying that, because I was always doubting or questioning, like when people were saying those things to me. No, that can't be, like, well, it's nice of them to say, but but now it really resonates. Yeah. Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah. You do have a way, an amazing way to empower them. So how people can find you?
Well, I have the website, which is the REVAexperience.com. They can reach me by email, the REVAexperience@gmail.com. There's a link to set up a one-on-one conversation with me. But if just send me an email and I can send the calendar. I mentioned sparkles before.
Yeah.
I want to say this is kind of my branding as well, because this focus on sparkles also helped me through all these challenges. I love things that sparkle. You can tell I got a sparkly bracelet. I got sparkly, right? I look for things that sparkle. I love the Swarovski crystals. Absolutely love it. Or the way the sun will sparkle on the small waves on a lake.
Yeah.
I'm in Canada, so we get snow, but we haven't had much snow in the last couple of years. But the way the sun or the street light will sparkle. And I'll say to my husband, look at all the diamonds in the snow, and look at the diamonds on the water, right? So whenever there's a challenge, or whenever you're feeling in a low vibration, look for the sparkle in your day. And it could just be the simple thing of the sun shining on the water. When I started speaking engagements, and I don't know if you can see that on here. It's actually an acrylic diamond from the dollar store. I pass these out as a reminder to find your sparkle.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Whatever it is, whether it's just being sad or something more negative. If we don't change our focus, we stay in that vibration. So that for me is the trigger to change your focus, because nothing stays the same. At the universe, everything is in a changing mode. So changing the focus will help you get out from that darkness into a light.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Want to know with any parting message you want to share, particularly relate to the prosperity?
So I did look it up, and Merriam-Webster has this definition of prosperity being the condition of being successful and thriving, especially economic well-being. And then there was another one. Prosperity is more about having the freedom to live your lifestyle in a way that it's content for you, financial freedom, and the ability to make choices that appeal to you. For me, it's more spiritual, because the prosperity is about having the abundance of the gifts and the talents and things that we need to help others and make the world a better place. That's prosperity for me. So the prosperity is in recognizing the gifts and talents that you have that you can share with somebody else.
Yeah, you definitely has a lot of gifts. It's not easy for a reflector to survive in the generator work. So we are all a doer. We are using our willpower. We force other people to do something. We think that's the best. We're not happy. We're frustrated. So the field is all filled with 70% of frustration from the generator. They didn't know who they are.
Share one more thing. I I was guided.
Sure.
I watch YouTube every morning for like meditations and my tarot reading and whatever. I was guided to this one documentary. And he said, ego's incessant curiosity makes you want to stop going within immediately, like meditation, introspection. But when we're searching for happiness, that's already within us. So we can't let our ego get in the way of our happiness, our peace, and our joy, because it's everything we have is within us, and everything we need is within us. And that was a really good short documentary.
In the more later life or more mature spirit, we start to understand we have our own past. It's just the choice. And now I understand. Of course, you couldn't find it because it's already inside.
Right.
How come you can find something you never lost? Right?
Exactly.
We just looked the wrong place because we were told those is the place to find your keys.
Yep.
But the gene key is right here. It's all in your DNA. So don't get too far. Just go back to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Rosemary, for this conversation. Cannot wait for you to sell more truths. Best wish for everything you choose to do.
Thank you so much, Tammy. This has been absolutely wonderful. I love this conversation and the fact that you're doing things to help others, which is so powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, you take care. I'll see you around, Rosemary.
Absolutely. Don't forget the sparkles. Bye.
Love that. Thank you.
Bye.